obviously Liverpool have quite a few injury problems at the moment. Is there ever a good time to play a side like Liverpool?
Not really. No, they've got top class players that have been playing and players that will come off the bench that will be really strong as well. So we've seen it from our own perspective. We've had a whole host of injuries at the beginning of the season, and the players that have come in have been absolutely first class for us, and that's what you want in a squad. And I'm pretty sure throughout the season that every team will have their moments with injuries, but yeah, listen, they'll still be a formidable team, and we have to be ready for a really tough game.
There's been a bit of talk this week about this whole club versus country debate, about maybe players are playing too many internationals at the moment. For instance, Yuri Tillemans played 2 games in the past 5 days or so. Do you think there are too many games, too many internationals at the moment?
Well, I think everyone can look at the sort of friendly fixtures that were put in there that, I think we'd all feel there was probably not a need for that. And it's certainly something that I think all our thoughts are with the player and his welfare over the course of this season. There's so many games that they're having to play, and I think certainly my own personal perspective, I didn't feel it was necessarily for a friendly game to be put into what is already a really congested fixture list. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. That's the internationals done now, and obviously they'll come up again in the new year.
And how much of a benefit could it be for you potentially that Jamie Vardy has had a couple of weeks off instead of being away with the England camp?
Yeah, but he hasn't had a couple of weeks off. He's obviously not travelling. He's been still training and working. Yeah, I think for all the players, of course, they get a bit of recovery time, and it was needed after the hectic start that we've had with the league games and the European games. But we're now looking forward. We've got a really busy schedule now over these next couple of months, and yeah, we'll look at doing what we've done, and use the squad. And I've got real trust in them. It's something that we spoke about before the season even started, that the challenges of what this season was going to be. And yeah, all our players, they're in a good moment. We've got players coming back from fitness, which would be great. And yeah, we'll look forward to the next run of games.
And Gareth Southgate a few days ago said that when he looks at the Premier League table, he feels that this year there are 6 or 7 clubs who could potentially win the title. He said it's not just Liverpool and Manchester City this season. Is that the way you see it as well, that it's very open as far as the title is concerned?
I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. We've only played 8 games, so haven't even thought about it. We've made a good start, but for us, what's very important, we spoke to the players just to bring them all back in again after the international duty. It's just a continuation for us to be really honest in our approach in the games, work as hard as we possibly can. We try to ensure, we keep the humility that we have in the group, which is important, and we prepare every day and prepare as best we can for every game. So that's what's only in our thinking, and nothing else.
And just the final one from me, just on the injury updates, are there any news on Wilfred Ndidi and Wesley Fofana, Ricardo Pereira? Yeah,
Ricardo's in training with the group, which is great news, and he'll most probably play in a reserve game next week. So he's been back now for a few weeks fitness-wise. So he's progressing really well. Wilf is out on the field, but still has a number of weeks to go. So, but he's again progressing well. So Junko, likewise, maybe a few weeks away, but training with the squad. And Timothy Castagna back in again, which is great news. And Wesley Fofana, yeah, he'll be fine. So yeah, just slowly starting to get our players back.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Pete.
With regards to what Carve was saying there about players getting injured, just in general, with the amount of Premier League games that are coming thick and fast. Jurgen Klopp was, tirelessly saying about 5 substitutes. Do you think now, when you look at the injuries that Liverpool have got, he's got a point?
Yeah, I definitely think from a personal perspective, and it's always difficult because there's so many. Each club has a different set of eyes looking at everything. It's not just the football, but I think if we're talking purely the welfare of players, then I was one that certainly at the beginning of the season wanted to just stay the way it was, at keeping 5 subs, but only being able to use 3 substitutes in the game. But I think as it has evolved and seeing the intensity of the games and how often the players are going to play, and then looking forward into the following seasons, then certainly from a personal perspective, I wouldn't be against them being able to use 5 substitutes in the game. But obviously there's other factors within it as well, within the clubs having to discuss other issues around it. But from a player management and the culture of the team and looking at the players, I think it would certainly benefit.
Does it make any difference to you, your build-up? Do the players feel any different when they know you're playing Liverpool with your history?
No, not at all. No, it doesn't mean anything for the players. Liverpool's an incredible club. Last couple of seasons in particular being, like you say, world champions, Premier League champions, European champions. So remarkable consistencies. And as I said, a top level team with a great manager. So no, it's just another, really tough opponent in the Premier League. The current champions, and we know we have to be at the top of our game to get a result.
Is there part of you that's pleased for them? Do you feel like you've been part of their makeup, in getting to where they are now?
I'm very pleased for the club and the players and the manager. As I said, I was a part of the story there. It was totally different. At the time when I was there, we were, as I said, in 8th position, and we were trying to create something, and we were doing it with the young players, loan players we had to bring in, and we nearly won the title with it. So I'm just delighted for the club. It's a fantastic club. I learned so much in my time there. Was exposed to so many situations that you wouldn't normally be as a manager, and like I said, it was a great learning time for me. So yeah, they've done amazing. Jurgen's been brilliant for the club, and yeah, pleased for them in that aspect.
Just ask you something aside from that. Over the last sort of 8 months, obviously things have been different, and you haven't had your normal support things with various groups around you because everyone's been so contained. How do you keep your leadership and management skills in tow? How do you test yourself that you're still in the right direction?
I think obviously your yardstick is in terms of on the field. You see whether your team is progressing or not, whether your individuals are progressing, and I've been pleased with the progress of the team. Young players developing, and obviously been very well supported by our senior players. So the club's we feel we're in a really good place with lots of improvements to make and lots of developments to make. Of course, it's never easy without the supporters. That connection. Leicester is one of those clubs where the connection between the supporters and the players is very, very important. So we've missed them, of course. But in the meantime, we've continued to develop and improve, and hopefully when they come back, they can see that firsthand in the stadium. So, but yeah, the yardstick is what you're doing on the field, and that will always measure the level of progress. But for us, of course, we move to a new training facility very soon as well, which will be one of the best in the world, an incredible facility, and so the club is really on a real good path and currently and constantly developing.
Cheers, Brendan. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks, Pete.
Jason Bourne, please, talk sport. Many thanks. Hi, Brendan. Hope you're
Hi,
well.
Jason.
Let me just get my notes up here. Christian Fuchs joined us on Wednesday on TalkSport Breakfast. He talked to us about your style of management, your personal way of doing things, and also the way that you communicate. Now, is this something that you consciously work on, or is it just because that you may be a nice guy?
No. No. Yeah. No, I think I'm actually a decent person who actually cares for people. And it's something that I've always been. Of course, I think it's really what management is about. And I think as I've grown with experience and evolved as a coach, stroke manager, then of course you recognise in particular that it's not always about your coaching on the field. It really is about the management of people. And I've always found that side of it interesting. So, but it goes back to I genuinely care for people, Jason. It's something that, whether it's on the field or off the field, I've never necessarily seen anyone as a big superstar player. I've always seen them as a person, and if I can help them on the field, brilliant, and even more so off the field, or if I can help them and lift any burdens they may have in their football life or personal life, then I'll always be here for them to speak to. So that side is important. My leadership is always about excellence and trying to ensure that I dedicate my life to that, to ensure the club and the players can be the very best they can be. But I'm also about fairness and working with people and looking after them. So that's how I operate.
You've gone away this season beating Manchester City, Arsenal, Leeds. How do you view this tactical battle potentially this weekend and against Jurgen Klopp?
Yeah, an extremely difficult one. They're an incredible side, and even though we have players missing, it's one where it's still a squad full of world-class players, that can really hurt you. So, so like those other games, you're going to have to defend well. You're going to have to be aggressive when you defend, and of course, in those moments in attack, you've got to be efficient and you have to be clinical. So, I'm really looking forward to the game. It's always great when you're playing the best, and they've clearly been that. So yeah, we look forward to a really difficult game, but it's a game we're excited by.
We just had the international break, of course, the third in successive months. Now, it looks like we're going into the most intense period of the season over the next few months between now and March. I mean, is this something that you'll look to embrace now?
Yeah, it's something that we looked at the beginning of the season. We knew this was going to be one of the challenges for us this season. We're having to be adaptable and the squad rotating. You've got to look after the players. It's a long, hard season, and you cannot play the same team virtually, especially if you've got European football. So we're going to come into a period now where we'll have more European games and high-level Premier League games, and they'll all come thick and fast. So I think with the players that we had out, the great opportunity that we had was to play the players that have been on the sides, and they've come in and absolutely been first class for us. So it just means when the other guys return, we're going to have a really strong squad, and I can put out whichever team I want, knowing that we can really be competitive.
And the final one from me, we're also doing a piece on the law of management and what it is about the role that's so attractive to people, not necessarily the Leicester City one, but management in general. I mean, what made you want to become a manager in the first place? Obviously, I know that your playing career ended prematurely, and also continue to be a manager in football, even when it's straining and difficult and you're going through the mill a little bit.
I think initially tactics was something that I loved as a young coach. And then obviously as you evolve and develop, it's putting those tactics into a more pressurized situation, which is first team management. I think I had 15 years as a young coach, learning all the aspects of coaching and all the underpinning factors that's needed within that line of work. And then moving into management, you same putting those tactics, but also the management aspect of it. And of course winning. It's seeing that relationship between training and the games, and seeing if you can put that into practice and win. So but it's something that once you've been in it, and I've now, got a number of games behind me, so I can look at it much more clear than when I first started. And of course, as a manager, you develop and you become better with experience. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it, and I'm hoping over the next 10 to 12 years I can become an even better manager with my experiences.
Thanks, Brendan. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Jason. Thank you.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi.
Great to talk to you. I wonder whether you could clarify some of the injury situation. You gave a lovely rundown of Ricardo, of Wilfred and DD, that they're still a while away. Soyuncu as well. And you said Castagne was back in train or back in. Does that mean he's available for Sunday, Brendan?
Yes. Yeah. He'll be, Timothy will be available, yeah.
And any other fresh injury concerns? Anybody away with international that is struggling ahead of Sunday?
No, they'll come back fit and well, thankfully. So all should be available.
And no positive COVID checks that you've had to leave anybody out for?
No.
Lovely. On that, with the busy schedule, you've already spoken with Jason about how busy it is, and actually you embrace it. I wonder, and there's lots to talk about injuries as well. Your medical staff and your sports science staff at Leicester City is top class. I know that. Have they been talking to you about numbers, about drop-offs, about fatigue? Have you known this is coming? Have your experts told you this is coming? And is there anything you can do about it?
As you say, we've got a top-class medical and sports science team here, and obviously they monitor and measure it every single day. They perform and of course in the games. So it's just a daily update that we'll get. We'll look at the levels at which the players are training at, the exertion that they're putting in, and where we might have to take a player out to recover, or where they needs an extra day's recovery. So that's just something that's ongoing, but it's something that every club will have anticipated over the course of the season. This is a unique season with the games and the intensity and how close proximity all the games are. So it's just something that we look at on a daily basis and look to plan forward with that.
And a possible milestone for Liverpool on Sunday, Brendan, if they were to win, then they would equal a record that goes back to 1981 for, I think, 63 wins. A team that beat them, incidentally, in 1981 to when that was Leicester City. It's a huge unbeaten run. It, in fact, goes back to the same week as Leicester City played Atletico Madrid in the Champions League in 2017. It's that long ago. What have you seen in being on aggregate 13-3 away from home this season? You've been really strong away from home. What have you learned in those games to take you to Anfield and believe you can win?
Well, I think in any game, and especially away from home, first of all, you've got to defend well. You've got to be strong, you've got to be organised, and you've got to be aggressive. And then, like I say, you have to be efficient, with the ball. And some of the wins that we've had, that's been part of the pleasing aspect of it, that the team is evolving and developing different ways to win. You think we went away to Manchester City, we won 5-2, but we had 28% of the ball, but we had 28% of the ball, which was dangerous possession. And I'm one that I've always looked at that aspect, and obviously it was something that I pride myself on. But as I evolve as a coach, I understand that it's not just about the possession, it's about having dangerous possession. If you look at Aston Villa against Liverpool, when they won 7-2, I think they had 30% of the ball. So it's being efficient, and that's something in the away games that we've been able to have. So be dangerous when you have it, be a threat, and of course you have to be then super organised and get that little bit of luck that you need in any game to win.
And of course, you have an incredible threat in Jamie Vardy, Brendan, whose record against the quote top six is incredible. Is he any different in the week building up to a game against, again, quote, the big six? Do you see anything more in him in training? Is there more appetite? And if not, where does this goal scoring record against the big clubs come from?
No, I think it's just probably highlight it more in, but it's normally against most clubs. He's a threat. I think, obviously, of course, specifically, there's certain clubs that looked at, but no, there's no change. He applies himself he's an ultimate professional every day in training, and he's obviously getting himself ready for every game he plays, and he's a threat in every single game. So, but when you play against teams like Liverpool, you need to have more than one threat. He obviously gives us that penetration, but you need to have more than one, and that's what we need to ensure that we have on Sunday.
Brendan, there's been an official change for this game at the weekend. The VAR referee was due to be David Coote. That's been changed to Andre Mariner. Were you consulted by the Premier League about that? And if so, did you approve it?
I've no thoughts on it either way, Ian, to be honest. And I don't think we can speak about referees anyway. So that probably...
Specifically, no, but changing an official a few days before a game seems odd.
Yeah, I don't overthink it, to be honest. I'll trust the officials and what the ones they'll put in place. So yeah, I've got no thoughts either way.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the training ground earlier on. I was going to ask you today, actually, how close the move's getting, Brendan. Actually, I'd imagine there's going to be a real excitement about it when you're possibly going to be calling in the removals and moving slightly north of the city.
Yeah, well, it won't be too long. No specific date yet, Ian, but I was up at it a couple of times last week when we were off, and it's absolutely sensational, the facility. It's really good. I think we all can't wait to get in there. So just now, just about timing. So hopefully not too far away now, but it's going to be a big step for the club and moving into that type of facility. So we'll look forward to it when it comes, but not too far away.
Thanks for your time. Good luck Sunday, Brendan.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you.
Thanks, folks.